All right, good morning, everybody. So today we're going to look at Google Maps and ultimately how you can use this program as a collaborative activity. So what you're looking at right now is a map that I created with a friend during our 642 class, and ultimately this is trying to show the bubonic plague. And if you go, you can see it, and it traces back to Beijing. We had a graphic here of the flea, and then it continues on through the Silk Road. And ultimately what you can do here is you can have students working together, kind of seeing the different ports of entry. So for example, if you go into Messina, you can see ultimately this is part of why the plague spread the way it did. This is a port city, and ultimately we'll go over to the main Italian peninsula. So what we're going to look at is ultimately creating our own. So to look at this from scratch, you can go into, you can type in my map. And this will go to mymaps.google.com. And you can see ones that I've done before. And so if I go to create a new map, this will create one that is completely blank. And this you can shape into whatever you would like. So if we do what we were doing with the bubonic plague, let's save. And ultimately, I do want to make sure that you are able to access this map online. So I'm going to make sure to put public. Anyone on the web can view. And I have the link to share. Okay, so if I'm wanting to do this, I want to make sure that I have a layer here that we're able to understand. So I'm going to rename this layer. I'm going to put this ports of entry. And ultimately, this is where we are going to put the spread of the bubonic plague. So let's get out of North America here. We'll go west into China. So I'll find Beijing. Excuse me. And ultimately what I'm going to do is I want to add in a point. So I'm going to put in, click the marker. I'm going to put the marker into Beijing. And so you can see it goes into our ports of entry layer. And ultimately I'm going to just put name of the city. And for now, ultimately you can add whatever you'd like. So for example, let's click on the style here. Going down, just kind of my sense of humor. Let's go with the skull and crossbones, and then kind of a pun here. Okay, so we'll make it black with skull and crossbones. Excellent. And then really you can do whatever you want, and for our sake, maybe we want the students to watch a video. So if I go to Google, I say Black Death spreads from China, and let's see what we find. Okay, so going in. Okay, so this, let's see, so National Geographic, so I can use this one. I could also incorporate this with an Edpuzzle, but for now I'm going to incorporate this, so I'm going to copy the link. And ultimately, if I go back to our map and I go to Edit, you can add in this as a link. So let's add the video here. And let's see, so we can type in, okay, let's see what we can find. Okay, so we can have this here. Okay, here's the video. And then at that point, students can click the link. It's not a YouTube video, so it won't be embedded as nicely here, but ultimately students can click the link and they can go in here. Let's see if we can find one on YouTube just to demonstrate that. So let's see. If we go down here, so let's go to YouTube actually. And let's type in Black Death from China, the Black Plague. Okay, all right, so we do have our video here. So now that we have the YouTube link, go here, copy that, and let's try this in a different way. So if we go here instead, in the YouTube URL, fantastic. Okay, fabulous. And then let's actually, just for sake of clarity, great. So now what we've done is we've placed a marker on Beijing, and so you can have instruct your students to ultimately go here and go ahead and watch the video. So if we look at more of a finished product, you can see ultimately the spread, and what's most important here is drawing the attention is the years that it spread. And this will make it more specific, so if I go back here I can even add this in. So instead of calling it just Beijing, we can call it Beijing 1320 CE. And so that way it's much more accurate as far as the year, and it gives the student a perspective. So if we look here as far as China, 1320, and then when we continue west, going into Constantinople, 1347, and then ultimately when it gets into London, 1348. So we can see the spread of the trade visually, and it also gets the students to interact with the different programs here. So you can even see like this infographic, students get a better perspective, and you can add questions on this. So ultimately it creates a much more collaborative activity, and it gets them online. And one thing too is you can even set the map to be more with showing the topography, so students can get a better perspective of that. This is all we have for now. Thank you for listening, and let me know if you have any questions.